Hey, I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
There you go. Little, a little casual tonight, huh?
Yeah. Well,
Like it.
I had that seminar, the matrimonial seminar earlier today.
Ah,
So no court, none of that.
okay. How did
What
it
about you?
get?
Did you have a good day?
Yeah, I've been cranking on this Andy's transaction. Just emailed with California Council, and I think we're going to throw in the towel and extend the due diligence to Wednesday. We're both cranking on preparing a number of documents, and it's not coming together. We need cooperation from third party. I think the host may have muted us.
I think
I think that's Rich talking.
Oh, hi, Rich.
At this time, at 6:31, I will call this city commission meeting to order. If we will stand for just a minute, we'll have a short invocation, please, and then we will follow that by the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay. Thank you. Dear Lord, once more and again, we thank you for allowing us to wake and see another day. Another beautiful day. It was a sunny day, and it was a day for us to get out and enjoy and do whatever it is we were required to do on this day. And Lord, we ask for your continued blessings for us here at this diocese to do all of the things that we need to do to keep our business, our city, I should say, doing much better. And I know that we can do it. We also ask you for your continuous guidance for our new set of officers that we have that's running our country, Lord. They need all your help that they can get. So please stand with them, show them what to do, help them, know them, tell them what they should be doing in order to correct a lot of the things that we have. These things we ask in the name of your son, Jesus. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you. All right, thank you.
If you did that without messing things up.
Okay. Ms. Palm, roll call, please.
Yes, ma'am. Mayor James,
Here.
Vice Mayor Jones,
Here.
Commissioner Ambrose,
Here.
Commissioner Jameson,
Here.
and Commissioner Williams is absent.
All right, thank you. All right. On our agenda tonight, I understand we have one change under unfinished business. Item number 2, we are going to table that item until the second meeting in February, which is February 25th.
I will move to approve the agenda with the correction of item number 2 under unfinished business, which will be taken up on February 25th.
I'll second that.
All right, it has been properly moved in second that the agenda be accepted with the modification. All those in favor respond with aye, please.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. Agenda is approved. Item number 1, presentation discussion item. Presentation of Public Works project in progress from our Fire Chief Bruce Gillingham and from our Public Works Superintendent Rodney Hoffman.
Good evening. So what I have here is I have a short PowerPoint presentation. not a lot of slides, keeping it short and sweet. I got some bullet points on here. As we go through these bullet points, please ask questions, whatever additional information you think you need, please ask. We'll run through these projects. City manager felt like this was important to pass this information on to the commission to give us an idea of where we're at within public works on a lot of the projects that we have going on. And this is just a brief highlight of everything we have, or a brief highlight of all the big projects we have going on right now. All right, so third well's been discussed a lot. We already have the CUP permit, the consumptive use permit done. We've already received approval on it. We have finished project design. The FDED permit process is complete, or the application is complete. It's in the permitting process. The design process at this point, the last little piece we're waiting on is the design from the third well to tie into the plant. So the bid package will be done. I believe within the next 30 days, we should have the packet completed where we go out and bid for this project, where we can see what the financial needs are gonna be. So that's where we're at on the third well at this time. Any questions?
Well, yeah, where's the money going to come from the well? Maybe we've already talked about that. And then I see we're having to buy a new generator.
I'm gonna get into that in a minute
Okay.
as well. The generator went down at the water plant. The generator's a 40-year-old generator. Locating parts has been difficult. We've been told by Ring Tower a couple times, hey, we think we found parts, and it's like, nope. We've received some bids in at this point. We have lowest bid right now is $94,000. So that's where that's at. We have been speaking with some financial advisors. We're looking hopefully within the next month to 6 weeks to be coming back and getting some sort of contract with the commission to figure out the funding mechanism and which way we're gonna head with this. Currently, we are borrowing a generator for the plant from Florida Rural Water. So we do have backup power at the facility currently.
And is there a time frame on that, or is it indefinite? They're letting us borrow it indefinitely.
It is indefinite at this point in time, until further notice. Now, I don't think we can keep it until October by any means,
Well,
but they're
that's-
reasonably working with us right now until we can come up with a solution. And once we come up with a solution, we can sit down and talk to them about our options with the generator.
Okay.
Are we still on time to potentially have that third well in the ground, with water being tested by this fall?
Pending funding.
Okay.
So, funding's gonna be what's really gonna drive that. I'd say 30 days is what we're being told before we see the packet. We come out the bid, you're looking 4 to 6 weeks on that. So that's gonna put us in April, beginning of May. Yeah, it's feasible to get it done by fall.
Do we have to wait to go out to bid for the approval of the permit?
No, that's what we're waiting on right now. Once we have the permit, we can go out to bid. We're waiting on the finalization of that from FDEP.
Okay, I guess my question was, do we need the permit to go out to bid, or can we send
Yes,
the
because
bids
it's
out?
all tied together with Florida Rural Water and their design standards.
Okay.
So once we get that, then the packet's complete and it can go out. Because that permit also has what specifications of the well are gonna be, as far as gallons per minute, motor size, all that stuff.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. Over the next couple of weeks, you're gonna notice there's gonna be, the water tower's due for maintenance. So it's gonna be getting cleaned, the inspections due, painting's due. You're gonna see some blow-offs located all around town, relieving pressure. We're not gonna have any water in the water tower when that happens. It will be down for 3 weeks. So that's what's fixing to happen here within the next couple of weeks, and that's where we're going. Along with all that going on, Florida Rural Water will be here. They were supposed to be here this week. It got pushed off till next week, and they're doing a water audit of our water system.
So during that time period, if there's no water in the water tower and we have a backup generator, if we had a line break and we started losing pressure, the backup generator doesn't come on its own like a regular one would. So someone has to get to the plant to turn on the generator to turn on the pumps.
Correct. We're meeting with SUAS on the 3rd. So next week, next Wednesday, we're meeting with them, and we're gonna put a 10,000 gallon storage tank on the ground to allow us the time to go turn that generator on in case we do lose power at the plant. It should give us enough time to get out to the plant and get it fired back up.
Okay.
So those are the options we're exploring on the 3rd. They're aware of our situation with the generator, so it may be put off a little bit pending on what solutions we come up with to make that happen.
Okay.
And the funding for all of this stuff we're working on, or how, I'm just asking.
The funding for the cleaning and the painting of the water tower is part of our maintenance contract with SUWAS. It's already paid for. It's a budgeted item. There's no additional cost. The only thing that may be an additional cost, and that's what we got to work out on the 3rd, is going to be that 10,000 gallon tank, because we normally don't have that piece of the puzzle, but we won't know until Wednesday exactly what the cost of that's going to be.
Okay.
Under normal circumstances, it wouldn't be an issue, but with everything going on, we feel it's just better safe than sorry.
Well, no, I would agree, just with what Ross just said, if something hits, you need to have something as a backup until you can get to it and start it up, so.
All right, sewer. Current sewer project on South Side Road Base for South Side Court and 241st should be going down starting next week. It was missed in the scope initially. There is no additional cost in this project. It was just missed in the scope of work. It's been addressed, it's been handled. So those 2 roads are behind. They will be caught up. We should be working on, and those should be done by the end of February. We're also working on the lateral connections. We expect this project to be completed, road paving into lateral connections by the end of February to the 2nd week of March is what the projected time frame is to finish up that project. Any questions on South Side?
Who, as the contractor's done the work over there, who is inspecting the contractor's work? Is Mid-Tower doing that? Are we doing that in-house? But
So Mid-Tower has a representative on site that inspects all the work as it's going in the ground. We also verify with them. The reason there hasn't been any movement and construction going on over there is they just got done doing the cameras and the lines. They got done verifying all the work, make sure the scope was right. They, and our engineers, Mid-Tower, went through and just inspected all the video. We just received the report back, I believe it was yesterday afternoon or first thing this morning. There's some deficiencies in there that the contractor's been notified on and they're going to fix now. So
okay.
that's how that's working out.
So, okay, so that's all gravity over there, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and we have some other areas that are gravity. We have gained great expertise in replacing and repairing grinder pumps. But with a gravity line, let's say there's a blockage somewhere in the line, do we have the equipment and skills to be able to go out and open up a blocked gravity fed line?
We have some. COVID kind of killed the training last year on it going as gravity's become more prevalent for some areas we have to open up and additional training we have to do. Once we get through COVID and they start opening up these training classes, we'll get people back into those programs. But there are contractors that we subcontract with currently that can come out and assist us or fix those lines.
Okay.
So that's where that is. We met with Swanee River Water Management about some reallocation of some current sewer grant funding. There's currently $2.4 million assigned to part of the A2 sewer project, which is part of that South Side project we're currently working on to finish that out. Well, those are to hook people up to a sewer system that we're rapidly losing capacity to. So we've asked for reallocation of that $2.4 million to be moved to the wastewater treatment facility. They have agreed with us. They haven't had any issues. It's being run up the flagpole right now. So that funding looks like it's going to be reallocated towards the sewer plant. That will leave us, instead of being a $5 million deficit, will move us to about a $2.6 million deficit. So we're getting a little bit closer. We also got notified today, the current A2 project where it sits right now is under budget. So there's somewhere, we're going to finish somewhere between $50,000 and $80,000 under budget in that project. We are also requesting that that funding be reallocated to fund to the sewer plant as well, shifting more money that direction.
Sounds good.
So we have some requests in for some grants right now. We also have some stuff we're looking at with the state revolving fund and some different areas as well. We're hoping we could see funding for these projects by summer. And it is a shovel-ready project, so we could, if the grant funding goes through without anything on our end and we can get everything worked out, we could be breaking ground by summer on this wastewater treatment facility. If not, and we don't see funding coming in, we're gonna be coming back to the commission with some ideas on state revolving funds and different avenues for funding the rest of this facility. We've been meeting with developers all week. It's been a crazy week and talking about impact fees up front to help with this. We've been developer agreements. That's been the theme of the week, and we're working on alternate funding sources as well. So hopefully staff will have some better news and some reports on how we're gonna finish funding the sewer plant expansion. Hopefully by May, we'll have some definite answers and we move forward. As we get more updates, we'll let you know as well. Any current questions? All right, so everybody remembers the dollar we did last year for repair maintenance, grinder pumps. We went to the sewer fund. So we were running about 15 spare pumps that we had in the facility. We changed stuff around. We got 30 pumps in reserve right now. We revamped the way we were repairing the grinder pumps. We were kind of doing an approach that we weren't seeing much results as they were keeping them in the ground. We were in a situation where we were doing about 12 a week in repairs. We went back and instead of doing repairs, we started doing rebuilds on the grinder pumps. It cost us a little bit up front, but the reduction on the back end right now, we're seeing great results in. We went from 12 to about 3 a week. So it's made a huge impact.
Very good.
We've also been able to get rid of some of the original grinder pumps from 2004 when we started this program, and we're able to replace them with some newer pumps. We've changed the way we put some more expensive pumps in at the lift stations, some different brand pumps, and it's made a world of difference. It cost us a little bit more, but we're making up the difference now with only having to repair 3 a week. It's freed up working hours for the personnel. They're able to get more projects done. They're able to keep the plant up. They're able to work and get additional things done without being overworked at this point. So any questions on that?
The grinder pumps are under warranty for a number of years when they go in. Do we have a way of tracking when a grinder pump went in and if it's under warranty or not as we're fixing ones around the city and doing things? Do we know?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Keep it short. JC has a tracking system. We know what the original pumps were. We know what they also have date stamps on them, things along those lines. JC does track them. We know which ones are under warranty, which ones aren't. Imagine this, the ones that are under warranty really aren't the ones that are the problems. Unfortunately, it's the ones that are that original batch from 2004, even some of the ones, 6, 8, 10 are starting to give us some issues. So when we started changing the way we were replacing the electronic components and we were replacing the way we were rebuilding the bottom end of the pumps and doing both at the same time, the success of keeping them in the ground longer has been great. We were also going through a period where, if it had one little problem, like the contacts were bad, that's all we were doing was just contacts, and we were going back up to the same house 2 weeks later and the whole thing was burned up. So by changing this, we're doing one trip, dropping them in, bringing them back, we're rebuilding them, we're putting them in circulation, we're logging how many times the pumps have been rebuilt and what their life expectancy is, and we're keeping track that way as well.
Okay. And the original pumps were 110 volts?
Right.
The new ones are all 220?
They're all 220, and we're able to convert the old pumps as well. So we are actually able to take the 220 pumps, make them 110 for those older style, and we're able to take the 110s now, make them 220. So we have conversions for them. So we're not having to keep special pumps here, special pumps there. It's now everything's kind of one size fits all unless it's a lift station. Any questions? All right, so we also have Florida Rural Water in here right now. They are doing live locations, mapping, asset management, the water audit, which we talked about, and they will be providing a basic rate study. We met with George and Florida Rural Water in December before the holiday season. They came back in January. We did a big kickoff meeting, and they've been on the ground running since. They started with the sewer facility. They're still in the sewer, I believe, and fixing to come over to water here in the next couple of weeks. We're doing all new mapping. We're doing all new mapping. We're locating our lines. We're locating valves. We're going through and fixing a lot of this information. And a lot of this information is now going to be able to be put into the master plan that we're going to start working on for the city for water and sewer. This is all going to be the basics in the beginning for this, but this is information that we've been missing for so long. We need it. We still have valve books out there, and we still have live locate books that say, measure from the road 10 feet and walk 7 paces to the west. So that's how accurate we are in some of these books. So we're moving everything over to computer-based mapping. We're moving everything over to newer style books. This is a lot of the information we were missing a couple years ago when we tried doing a hydrostatic model of the city. So this is going to allow us to fix that. This is also going to allow us to know that we have, 925 lateral feet or linear feet of transite pipe located on 182nd Avenue. We will know where these problem areas are. We'll be able to put this into the sewer and water master plan. We will be able to list these capital improvement projects. We'll be able to have some future vision and goals to make this stuff more affordable as the years go on, where we'll be able to do these projects. We'll be able to do them in smaller pieces. Questions?
Out of all these things that you're doing, and I like the direction you're heading, is there anything that keeps the staff or department heads up at night in particular? That, like, are we addressing all the right things?
I think we're addressing everything we need because there's so many issues currently, and it's just system wide. I mean, like right now the generator's down, so that's keeping us all up at night. We've got all these little issues like the trains out on 182nd Avenue. We were out there for 12 hours on a Sunday. We had a 12-foot hole and had 6 bands or 7 bands in 12 feet. Every time we fix one, we pop another leak. I mean, there's just areas of town right now that we're watching, we're trying to keep a hold of. But how do you need to help it? One bite at a time. We got to sit down and put all this on paper and come up with a game plan, come up with long-term goals and visioning with these master plans or just these scope of works or these projects, so we can start laying them out, listing the number of importance. I understand like this CBG project up here off of US 27. It's a great project. We were $230,000 over budget when it came down to it, but we still have 825 feet of linear feet of a ductile iron pipe in the ground that's not being addressed in this project. We know that's a $250,000 project. At what point do we address it? If we don't start putting this stuff on paper, we don't start doing these maps, we don't start doing these master plans, they get forgot about because now we're on to the next thing. So that's where these tools are going to come into play. And the cost of this program right here with Florida Rural Water doing it is excellent. Roddy, you want to know how much it costs? It's free. I mean, we can afford it.
No one is excellent.
I am smiling, just so you know.
I can see it.
You can't see it.
So, I mean, this is just something we've needed to do for a long time, and we've been on the list, and it's just something we're getting rolling. So, I mean, these are just smaller components. Now, this isn't gonna be a comprehensive master plan of the system. This is just gonna be a base point. So we're not killing ourselves trying to come up with what's the next thing. And this is gonna allow us to do that hydrostatic model. This is going to allow us to know where these issues are. When we don't have a valve exercise program, that's no fault to anybody here. It's just, these are things we haven't been able to do. I mean, let's be real. There's 7 people in public works on water and sewer. 7. So we've got to start identifying these things now. We got to start looking at long-term goals. Where do we want to be? It's great. The water system's almost paid off. Well, it's almost time to replace it too.
Well, I would commend Rodney and you and the group and Ashley and Deal. I think the thing that strikes me the most when you start talking about this is the line location. Because I just know when I first got on, and even through this one here, we didn't know where the lines were. We have nothing out there showing where the lines. So we were actually searching where the leak is because we didn't know, and we didn't know where the shutoff valves were. Well, a lot of them didn't have shutoff valves, and we put in. So I think this is all those who are doing this to be commended, because obviously you got to get to the 21st century at some point. And I don't say that jokingly. We need to get there. So I appreciate the work on this.
It's scary. I mean, it's, we've got general ideas where stuff is, but we have a lot of institutional knowledge here with people, and we're able to tap into that institutional knowledge. But as people leave, you're not able to retain what they have.
It needs to be grabbed. I mean,
So we've got to get it on paper.
mapped.
And that's what we're trying to do. If, I drop dead tomorrow, there needs to be a plan in place that somebody can just pick up where I left off and move forward. Rodney knows what I'm doing, I know what Rodney's doing. One of us is absent a day, not saying we're replaceable, but if one of us is absent a day, it still runs the same. And that's the goal. If you want to come in and look at, hey, I want to know what's going on with this part of town, we can open it up and look at it. and be able to sit down and talk about it. Well, somebody said it has water quality issues over here. We can go back and look at it. Well, these water lines, it's a new subdivision, but these water lines were put in 1955. Yeah, they're gonna have some issues. So those are the things that we need to be able to identify. Just give us a really clear picture. We may not like it, but at least we have a starting point.
And so what this does is it gives us the base of where all our lines are, but then it's kind of the beginning points of a water sewer master plan, but then to go to the next level and figure out what lines and where we're going to put them in the future. Texas, Florida, excuse me, Rural Water, we will have to go outsource for that. They don't provide that part of it. So we are getting, we're talking to engineering firms to see who's interested. And we think that there's some grants out there to help pay for that. So.
And that's gonna help with the water audit you're doing as well. Not this portion of it, but the water audit that are coming in and starting the other group. That's gonna help free up some funding as well on the grant side of things. It'll help also give us extra points on grants in the water area. We may not get full funding, but it's gonna help. So everything we're trying to do right now is try to bring light to some of the water things that need to be addressed. It's like, we know DOT is gonna be tearing up Main Street in 2032. It would be nice to have a project to really replace the water lines in 2032 when they're coming through, knowing those lines were put in the 70s. Right now we don't have that thought process.
Well, it also helps when developers come and they're building subdivisions to know, if there's some off-site lines that need to be built and we have them on our plan and we have the impact fees appropriately, then we can enter agreements with them so that they do some of our off-site work at a reduced cost than if we had to do it. Because once you have to go out to bid and all this stuff, sometimes you have to do in government, it costs more. So when there's those opportunities, we want to take advantage of it, as well as it makes the developers, they have to align what they're doing with our plan. So we make sure we're putting the right things in. Right. So that's why it's important to get that done too.
Any more questions? Or we're ready to move on to the next one? All right, so let's talk about the road department for a few minutes. There's been some questions. We know roads need to be paved. We're going through and identifying some roads. We're going to be redeveloping the road list. But one area has been a concern and has been a question and topic for a hot minute now is the roadways, the intersections, the trees, the debris, things along those. Those are being addressed now. The winter months, we've been working on it pretty hard over the last few months. We're going to continue doing it through the month of February and then part of the month of March. We've been talking about buying a big swing arm boom mower and all that stuff, and we went ahead and rented one this year. So they're going to go down 222 Street. They're going to go down, it'll be here Monday. They're going to go down 222. They're going to hit these major roadways and get these areas cleaned up for us. So that's going to be, you'll see a lot of that during the month of February with road and streets crews. You'll also see them out cleaning street signs. We're going to come up with a list of street signs that need to be replaced, and we're going to look at what we're going to do within the budget. One area we are revamping is how we're doing our tree list. It needed to be addressed. So we're breaking it up into 3 categories. We're doing dangerous trees or going to fall on major roadways. So if it's going to fall on somebody's house, somebody's cars, going to cause property damage, going to cause damage to us, or it's going to block a major intersection of road, they're going to the top of the list. Anything that's going to fall in a non-major roadway, not a main artery, things along those lines, going to go down on the list. And then anything that's going to fall but not cause any property damage will be third. And then we're going to look at funding mechanisms of how we're going to handle taking out some of these tree issues we've been having. So I know that's been a concern. This is the best way we could really come up into ranking it. We know we have some issues that fall into other people's properties, things along those lines, but we need to get out and identify those again. When we pulled up the most current tree list, there was like 5 trees on it. We know there's more than that. That is something while they're out doing roadway cleanups and things like that, we're going to start identifying. We had an issue and we were asking questions on policies, the way we're handling it. This is one of the changes we've made. This should help with our insurance company and the things they want to see us starting to do. And we're going to start getting this list together. And then we come back to the commission with 3 lists when it's budget time, and we can look at which one of the 3 lists we want to fund or how we want to go about funding it to take care of these problems. I don't think we'll ever deplete the list wholly. I don't want to make that clear, but at least this way we can at least have a good starting point to start moving forward. Any questions on roads at this point? And that's pretty much all I got. I was just wanting to give you some brief rundowns of where we're at and what we're looking at, what we're doing.
And I did just want to admit one, we're going to be meeting with the Department of Transportation soon, so we can go over what grants they have, and if they can assist us with a condition assessment, and so that we can start getting a list of our CIPs for the roadways as well. So, and we're also talking to engineers too about what's out there. So we're going to start trying to get a roadway program and a plan on how to fund it. So.
And we're also going to inform them of some subdivisions that are possibly coming in. I know there's been some questions about 202 Street and 441 needing a light. I know there's been some discussions about 222 Street needing a light. Post Springs Road and Main Street, those are on the list to bring up as well. And they need to be aware of some of the projects that are looking at coming in here with the amount of homes looking to come in here. So we can see if we can get some of those areas expedited because they need to be taken care of. So that's on the list as well. We're not doing much. We're just kind of.
That takes you up to what, noon time?
I'm done by 10:30.
Okay.
Most days. So we have addressed some school questions with the developers. I mean, there's a lot of things are going on. So it's good stuff. It's just some of it's going to take money. Some of it just takes time. Some of it takes money and time. It's just we got to get there.
I think the key things we've started, I've been on here, I guess, consecutively, and then Linda and so forth. These are things that we've advocated for, so I'm glad to see that we're progressing. I think these are issues that a lot of small towns have. I came from Gulfport, just south of St. Petersburg. When I was there, they didn't do anything, and they got hammered because my best friend is the city manager there. So I say this with thanks, Rodney and Alan and you and the new city manager. I think this is way overdue, and it's good to see us attacking this and having a plan, because we want to make darn sure 10 years from now it's better than what it is now. And 15 years, it's better. And they're not sitting here talking about the same issues.
I'd like to have a plan for them 15
So
years from now.
I appreciate that solely from a homeowner to get the city commissioner deal. I appreciate the attention being brought that way. And it also sends a positive message to the citizens that we're just not putting out fires. We're looking down the road to make darn sure this is the place they want to live. So I thank you very much.
It's an exciting time.
And we're not overlooking streets and roads. I want to be clear on that. These are the big things. We got to deal with water and sewer. As we start getting that stuff massaged out, roads are next. Like Steve mentioned, we're meeting with FDOT. We're going to start looking at our interior roads and funding mechanisms and start moving that next. It's just, we got to get through these processes. So it's not falling on deaf ears. I'm sure I'll get 8 emails next week saying, you didn't talk about my road. We know your roads
Yeah.
are issues. It's just, we're getting there.
And it's important because, when you dig up the water and sewer lines, then you repair roads. So we kind of need a plan for both, so that if we have something that's equally needs to be done, but the road's really bad on one, that we're going to dig that one up first. So
You going to post this on the website?
Yes.
I think the other thing that cities have a tendency not to do and so forth is advocate or to do what you're doing. Most of the time you're taking care of things retro and you're having to explain. I think it's extremely important from a communication standpoint that the people understand on an ongoing basis, where are we doing, what are we doing? So they understand where their money's going, their tax money, but they also understand that the city isn't just sitting here treading water. This is what we're doing. So I think it's extremely important to keep this in, status up on the webpage so people know, because these are good things. And these are things that we should be advertising out there. We should be so they understand it. Most of the time it's bad stuff.
And we're going to start looking at doing a projects area within the utilities portion of the webpage. This will go up. This will be part of the newsletter next month.
Okay.
This is just stuff we're working on. So yeah, it's going to get out there. It's going to get transparent. I'd like to have a list of projects. I'd like to get like the sewer projects going on the south side where we're at. So just keep that stuff rolling, keep the information as transparent as possible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, our next item. It seems that we have some surplus city property.
Yes.
And we need to discuss and consider and decide what we want to do here.
Yes, Mayor. As we discussed at the last meeting, there are 12 properties that we were given by the county. Staff recommended that we keep 4 because they have some value to our park system, and one other has a city facility on it. There are 7 remaining properties, and staff was directed to talk to some nonprofits and see if any of them would be interested. I talked to Habitat for Humanity. They are interested in all of the lots, but they need to confirm with their board. They said it would probably take around 5 years to put homes on all of those lots. So they're supposed to confirm with their board this month. And if the answer is yes, and you still would like to donate them, then we can move forward.
Sounds good. I like the idea of
Yeah.
that.
Can I question, Madam Mayor? So let's say you got the 5 years.
Yes.
Who's going to maintain those lots during those 4 or 5 years when they need to be mowed and the trees need to be trimmed and so forth?
As soon as it's given to them, they should. But I will confirm and make
And
sure.
I'm not trying to be a smart aleck,
Right.
but you said they should. I want to make
Yes,
it
I will
very,
have to make sure.
I need it very clear when the transaction is turned over.
Mm-hmm.
If they got to abide by anybody else who's got a vacant lot out there and keeping it maintained, because I don't want to live next to that lot and have this lot go nutcase. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
That would be my only thing, is to make darn sure it's very clear that they have to be maintained. Because we've ran in, Linda, since
Yes.
we've been on here, that's been an issue.
Mhm.
So
We're not paying the taxes, and we're not going to get hooked for the taxes if they come back to us.
So we'll make sure all of that. And if not, then we'll come back to you.
All right,
Okay.
done. Okay, at this time, citizens requesting comments for issues not on the agenda. Please state your name for the record and limit your comments to 5 minutes.
Madam Mayor, if there's anyone on Zoom that would like to speak to the commission, we ask that you utilize the raise your hand function within Zoom, and we'll bring you in. I'm seeing no hands at this time.
No hands. All right. We will move right along. We'll close that section. We'll move into new business. Item number 4. Discuss, consider, and act on appointing a rural advisor to the Metropolitan Planning Organization for the Gainesville urbanized area. Ms. Plum.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Mayor. The Regional Planning Council is requesting the City Commission to appoint one of themselves as a rural advisor to the Metropolitan Transportation Planning Organization. And this would be an advisory position only, and they would like for there somebody to be appointed.
Ross, would that be something you'd be interested in?
What's the time commitment?
They did not, we have to have it to them by tomorrow.
Yeah, but like, is this something that meets once a quarter for one meeting, or is
I'm
it
not
something?
really sure. They did not advise when they hold their meetings. We can check into that to see that, I'm not sure how.
I just know right now, with my business and being on the Tourist Development Council and this, along with some other nonprofit stuff, I'm really pretty stretched.
Yeah.
I can try to contact them tomorrow, but they have to have somebody, by that time, but I can try to find out when their meetings are.
Okay, if you have to, I would like to know that too, is how often do they meet? And
Weren't
if
you on
that's,
this board before, Gloria, I think? The
well,
M2PO?
it sort of sounds like I
Yeah.
was, yeah, with Gil from Inalachua. So I'll do it.
Oh, okay.
I
Great.
think I can.
Oh, you were wonderful.
Fantastic. Thank you, Gloria.
But I will find out when the meeting is.
Yeah.
The commission will need to make a motion.
I move that we appoint Gloria James to MTPO committee.
And I will second that.
All right, it has been properly moved and seconded that Gloria put her head on the chopping block for that. All those in favor, respond with aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you. Motion carries 4-0. I did do this before. All right, item number 5, discuss, consider, and act on strategic plan development. City manager.
Thank you, Mayor. This before you are the strategic planning worksheets. And we want to do a strategic plan prior to our budget process so we can align resources with the priorities of the commission and establish a more defined vision for the city. So we get where we want to be. So that's the purpose of it. So I've put on your desk the strategic planning worksheets. And we have some areas that we would like you to fill out. The first page is a SWOT analysis, and we will go through this together. I'll lead you through a work session where we fill it out together. But if you want to start thinking of some things now on what the community strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats are, the following sheets are just some questions for y'all to answer as the commission. All the sheets the city commission needs to answer say city commission at the top. And again, it's just so before the strategic planning sessions, you can think about what is important to you before we go through the process. And then further along towards the back are the staff sheets that they'll be filling out. And this is just the starting point for the process. And then what we'd like to do is have a workshop session with you. And we'll have one session where, without the commission, where staff goes over all their departmental priorities and their ideas on what's important. And then we'll have a second meeting with the commission and staff where staff can present their vision for their departments. And then the second half of the day would be y'all putting in your 2 cents and what's important and not important to you. And from that, we'll establish some goals and some action plans, a mission, vision, all the things that go into a strategic plan that will result in a document that we use during the budget process to align our budgets with the priorities in the strategic plan. So the budget process will start around March, April. So we'd like to get the strategic plan done February, March.
Okay.
So we just kind of need to know what your availability is, how much time you have available to commit to it. So you might want to think about that and then send something to Jenny, whether it's going to be evenings or weekends. Probably maybe just do it at the room at the school, or if you prefer another location. But it's going to be a working meeting.
Any ideas on, are you going to contact, or you want us to send? How do you want us to go about doing this?
I'll be glad to send out potential dates that we can do and see which is available, which ones are available for, which one works out the best.
Would you, I think we need to determine if we need to do maybe a Saturday, if that's more convenient for people, or rather than nights, because if we get too late in the evening, sometimes it gets, we don't have the energy to discuss these things.
Would other commission members be interested in trying a morning? And we just,
During the week,
during the week.
I think that would be
I can't do it.
difficult for Scott, yeah.
Yeah, Scott can.
I mean, I can do nights or Saturday. I can't during the week.
Yeah.
Not with the current status of
Yes.
We've had meetings on Saturday before, like a retreat.
It gives us a little bit more freedom that way. It's more relaxed.
We did it at the old school, we did, the
Yeah.
one where we did it in there. So,
Saturday sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
I think Saturdays are good because people are more fresh in the mornings, and hopefully, we can have some breaks so that people have some time to kind of rest a little in between the process, and we'll try to keep it going so we don't wear everyone out too much. So
Okay.
Sounds good.
so Jenny, you'll send out like various dates for Saturdays and we'll just reply and then whichever ones. Okay.
Okay.
All right, very good. All right, city attorney report and update. You've been too
Madam
quiet.
Mayor. Good evening, Madam Mayor. We don't have anything this evening.
Oh, you don't?
Ma'am.
All right, city manager, if you have anything.
we just have a lot of development, even more new developments that want to come into High Springs. So staff is working to, at the same time, start the strategic planning process, and then we'll be getting going on the budget. But we're also trying to start working through some of our planning regulations. So you're going to probably be seeing in future meetings at least one area of the land development code coming. So just to prepare for that, at your next meeting, we'll also bring the financial advisors that we're recommending, and just a lot of projects are coming up. So this is the calm before the storm. So, so get ready.
All right,
Good.
very good. All right, commissioners, Commissioner Ambrose down there.
I have nothing.
You have nothing.
I have nothing. I think it's been a good week.
All right, Commissioner James.
I just want to comment on the fact that with the attorneys and Ashley, and she said we got a lot coming around. And I just simply, I think the next year and a half is going to be, we're at Indy Raceway. I don't think we're on our little bicycles anymore. And I don't say that jokingly. I think we need to be ready. I think, I know the attorneys have spoken and they're on board. And I will say I'm extremely pleased. I think I will say from a voting standpoint, when we chose our city manager, we chose the right one.
Yes.
Yes,
Because
we did.
we're seeing things, but I'm extremely pleased. And I think we need to understand with the amount of infrastructure projects we got going on, the amount of people who want to come live here, developments, we need to be prepared, and we need everybody on the same page, making sure that we're getting there. And I appreciate when we're talking about these plans and we're talking about laying this stuff out and so forth. I'll be honest with you folks, you always say when you start something, you want it to be better than when you came here. Well, I want it to be better in 10 years from now, and I said something. And I think what we're putting in place, and with the attorney's help and Ashley and so forth, and Jennifer's, running the money and so forth, I feel much better than I have since I've been up here, because I got a lot of years left to torment a lot of people. And I just want to know that I'm going to be doing it on roads that are paved, and my water's going to run.
That's right.
So I'm joking, but this is a major move. If you all aren't aware, this I've been in too long. This is a major move. We have not had this type of projected planning since I've been on here, and I've been on here almost 9 years consecutive. This to me is a very positive move that we're making. And it's done to make sure that the people who sit out there and who are watching, you have confidence in the people up here to make darn sure that your city grows properly and the stuff are put in place for that growth. So I'm excited, and I thank you for that.
Okay, Vice Mayor Jones.
Other than to second what Scott said, as I said earlier, it's a very exciting time. It's very busy. Our city manager has a lot on her plate, but we're real excited about things that are coming about. Other than that, nothing.
Well, speaking of our city manager, when she was here, or rather, when we did the interview for her, she said when she came in, she wanted to learn what she could, get her feet wet so she could hit the ground running. I think she did exactly that.
Thank you.
Yes, she did. And we appreciate what you're doing for us so very, very much.
Thank you. Well, the staff has been wonderful, and Rodney and Bruce and Jenny and Kevin and Draylon and Angela and Antoine.
All right,
I
that's
mean,
enough.
it's just no. I mean, it's a team effort. So
Right. And we thank you.
Yes.
Yes, we do. Well, how did the food distribution go last weekend? I had to go to a different meeting. I didn't get to go. Did anybody here go? No?
I was out of town.
Madam Mayor, we distributed enough food to 502 households with
Yeah.
42 different volunteers.
Very good. Okay. I missed that one, unfortunately.
and we ran out. So
We always do.
Yeah, that's right.
It's hard turning people away.
That's it. All right, is that it? If it is, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
So moved. All right. Meeting